Tendering in construction contracts. Module overview. This module offers an in-depth exploration of the tendering process within construction contracts. Tendering is crucial for selecting the most appropriate contractor for a project through a structured, competitive bidding procedure. We will cover the objectives of tendering, the detailed steps involved in calling, receiving, and evaluating tenders, as well as best practices for tender negotiations and contractor engagement. By gaining a comprehensive understanding of this process, architects and construction professionals can ensure ethical and effective project delivery that provides value to the client and maintains high standards of fairness and professionalism. 1. The tender process explained. The tender process is the formal sequence of steps used to procure a contractor to undertake construction works. This process is designed to secure a contractor who provides the best value based on project requirements. The tender process involves several stages, each of which is critical to the successful selection of the right contractor. 1.1 Calling for tenders. Preparation of tender documents. The first step in the tender process involves preparing a complete set of tender documents. These documents form the foundation upon which contractors will base their bids. The documents must be clear, comprehensive, and precise to prevent ambiguity during construction. The key components of a tender package include notice to tenderers. This provides essential information such as submission deadlines, procedural requirements, and the scope of work. Conditions of tendering sets out the rules that all tenderers must follow to ensure a fair and transparent process. General conditions of contract. Standardized contractual terms, often based on well-established standards like AS 4000, that form the core of the contractual relationship. Contract schedules and annexures. These documents include details such as provisional sums and particular project-specific information that is relevant for pricing. Technical specifications and drawings. These documents are fundamental for pricing as they describe the scope, quality, and materials to be used in the project. Types of tendering. The type of tendering chosen depends on the project requirements and procurement model. Open tendering. This method invites any interested contractor to bid, typically through public advertisements. It provides maximum competition, but may attract many unqualified bidders. Selective tendering. In this approach, only pre-qualified contractors are invited to submit tenders. This helps ensure a higher standard of bids, as the invited contractors are known to have the required skills and resources. Invited or negotiated tendering. Specific contractors are directly invited to tender, often used for projects requiring specialized skills or when time constraints exist. 1.2 Managing the tender period. Queries and addenda. During the tender period, contractors may need clarification on aspects of the tender documents. Managing this process effectively is crucial to maintaining fairness and transparency. Centralized communication. All queries must be directed through the architect. It is essential to avoid contractors contacting the client or other consultants directly, which could compromise fairness. Issue of addenda. Any clarifications or changes must be communicated to all tenderers via formal addenda. This ensures all bidders have the same information and can price the works fairly. Equal access to information. All responses to queries should be shared with every tenderer to prevent any party from gaining an unfair advantage. Time frame and discipline. The tender period needs to be long enough to allow bidders to fully evaluate the documents, prepare pricing, and submit their offers. Minimum timeline. Typically, 4 to 6 weeks is allowed, depending on the project's complexity. Late changes. Architects should avoid making changes within the final week of tendering, as late amendments can disadvantage contractors who may not have time to adjust their bids accordingly. Addenda documentation. Any issued addenda should be clearly numbered, dated, and detailed, ensuring no ambiguity and easy reference throughout the process. 1.3 Receiving tenders. Submission protocols. The submission process must be transparent and structured to uphold integrity. Deadline management. Tenders are usually closed after 2 p.m. on weekdays. avoiding holidays or Mondays to ensure full engagement from all parties. Locked tender box. Traditionally, tenders were submitted to a locked box to ensure confidentiality. Today, while electronic submissions are more common, it's essential to maintain strict procedures to safeguard bid privacy. Opening tenders. Opening tender submissions should be done with a witness present, ideally involving the client. This formal process helps in reinforcing trust and transparency. Handling late tenders. Defined policy. It is important to have a clear policy regarding late tenders. Typically, late submissions are not accepted, but exceptional circumstances may allow consideration, especially if the delays were beyond the contractor's control. Communication of results. Contractors should be informed of the outcome as soon as possible to respect the effort and costs involved in tendering. This also ensures a good working relationship is maintained for future projects. 1.4 Evaluating tenders. Evaluation criteria. The evaluation of tenders is not solely about selecting the lowest price. Rather, it aims to find the most advantageous offer that combines value, reliability, and alignment with project objectives. Consistency and formality. A formal evaluation matrix is often used, scoring tenders against predefined criteria, such as price, experience, program, and technical capacity. Conforming versus non-conforming tenders. Each tender must be assessed to determine whether it is conforming to the tender requirements. A conforming tender meets all the tender requirements, while a non-conforming tender may propose alternative approaches or fail to address specific criteria. Impartial assessment. The evaluation process must be conducted impartially and be defensible if challenged. Maintaining a transparent process mitigates the risk of disputes or claims of unfair treatment. Alternative proposals. Contractors may submit alternative proposals, such as value engineering suggestions, intended to reduce costs or enhance performance. While these can provide significant benefits, they must always be accompanied by a fully conforming tender submission to allow for a fair assessment of all offers. Tender report. Upon evaluating all submissions, the architect prepares a tender report summarizing evaluation outcome, the strengths and weaknesses of each tender, including conformity and any alternative proposals. Recommendation. A recommendation to the client on which tenderer to accept. It is crucial to note that the client is not obligated to accept the lowest tender, but should select the one that offers the best overall value for the project. 1.5 Negotiations and acceptance. Negotiations with tenderers. Once a preferred tenderer is identified, there may be a need for negotiations to finalize specific aspects of the bid. These negotiations should focus on ensuring the tenderer fully understands the scope and is committed to the contractual requirements. Negotiation ethics. It is imperative to negotiate in good faith, maintaining transparency and fairness. Architects must avoid creating an impression of horse trading or seeking last-minute discounts in bad faith. Face-to-face meetings. Where possible, face-to-face negotiations are preferred to establish trust and clarity between the parties. Only negotiate with the preferred tenderer to avoid creating unrealistic expectations for other contractors. Acceptance of tender. Once negotiations conclude satisfactorily and the client agrees to proceed. Written confirmation. Acceptance of the tender must be confirmed in writing, which effectively becomes the date of the contract. Assembly of contract. The architect is responsible for assembling the final contract documents for signing, ensuring all negotiation outcomes are included and properly documented. This includes organizing documents chronologically and ensuring completeness. Notification to unsuccessful tenderers. As a professional courtesy, letters should be sent to unsuccessful tenderers. This is important because tendering is costly, and maintaining good relationships with contractors is crucial for future projects. 1.6 Concluding the tender process. Site possession. Once the contract is finalized, the builder is granted possession of the site. Typically, a 3 to 4 week period is allowed for the builder to prepare and mobilize resources before starting construction. Ethical considerations and best practices. Transparency. The architect's long-term reputation is dependent on conducting ethical tender processes. Competitive pricing can be vulnerable to manipulation, making it essential to maintain fairness and avoid even the appearance of favoritism. Market confidence, ethical tendering ensures that contractors feel confident participating. This is particularly important when the construction market is overheated and contractor interest in tendering may be low. Reputation with builders. Builders prefer to tender for architects known for fair dealings. The goal is to cultivate a reputation for transparency, which encourages high-quality contractors to participate in future projects. Conclusion: importance of the tender process. The tender process is a crucial part of construction contract management. It directly influences the quality, cost-effectiveness, and success of a project. By managing the tender process diligently, from the preparation of documents, managing queries, evaluating submissions, to negotiating with tenderers, architects can ensure a successful outcome for their clients. It is not just about selecting a contractor, it's about selecting the right contractor who will deliver value, meet the project's quality standards, and ensure timelines are respected. Conducting a fair and ethical tender process reinforces the integrity of the profession and strengthens relationships within the construction industry.